when you create a new category, it takes time. It takes more of the analytical thought process. It takes more experimenting. You just speak with more and more people, end users, partners, people that are in the industry. And yes, it wasn't easy. It isn't trivial, but I think the moment you kind of find that, and find the product market fit really, and then also the go to market fit, that is that's the point where everything kind of changes.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley, in partnership with Leumi Tech, sponsored by Homeward Ventures, Hippo Insurance, Upwest Labs, Synergy Global, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, Birthright Excel, Serona Partners, and in media partnership with C-Tech. Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Meet Roy Dagan, the CEO of SecuriThings, a leading security and IoT expert with over 15 years of experience in product management and business development from various high-tech companies. Prior to co-founding SecuriThings, Roy led product groups and successfully launched multiple product lines in the cybersecurity, risk management, and intelligence domains at companies including RSA, the Security Division of EMC, NICE Systems, and Payoneer. Roy served in various positions in the IDF Elite Technological Unit and holds a Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science and Management from Tel Aviv University. Roy Dagan, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited for these next 20 minutes. How are you?
Good, Michael. How's it going?
I'm doing well. Thank you very, very much. It's a stormy evening here in Tel Aviv for the both of us, but we're warm and cozy, and I'm excited to have this authentic and fun conversation with you, both about Internet of Things and what's been happening to our world, and how the hell can we maintain them both infrastructure-wise and secure-wise at scale, but also a little bit about yourself and who you are as a CEO and as a leader, and tying it a little bit to some of the other things that you do in life. So we're gonna have a great conversation, Roy. Tell me a little bit about SecuriThings and how that whole thing started.
Sure, happy to do that. So SecuriThings, we started a few years ago, initially kind of focused on IoT cybersecurity. That was kind of the main topic that we wanted to challenge, we wanted to tackle. And then what we saw is that, if initially we tried to target more address manufacturers, we actually decided to focus on enterprises because we see the challenges that enterprises have are huge. And again, with that cybersecurity offering. The second thing, once we started speaking with more and more enterprises and more partners in this ecosystem of IoT, we actually discovered that cybersecurity is just part of the pain, right? So the pain is definitely cybersecurity, and especially when it comes to these devices. But it also includes aspects of compliance, which is kind of in between, and also the operational management of these devices. So you have a lot of devices, you don't even know if they're working properly or not. And that's kind of where we decided, okay, this is the thing. This is what the market needs. And we decided to embark on that journey and also create a new category, which we coined the term earlier last year, which is IoT Ops. So what we do today is really IoT Ops. And we're really helping enterprises manage these devices in an efficient and secure manner. And that's all we are about. And if you think about it, we're kind of creating an equivalent IT system for these IoT space, or for these teams which are responsible for those devices.
What's happening in the world? Take me 30,000 feet in the air. What is happening today with IoT devices? Why is this the right timing for SecuriThings?
Interesting question, and I think a lot of things are happening. So first, digitization. So more and more IP-based devices are meeting, for years, have been meeting networks and have been meeting enterprises, and then just proliferation of devices. And what you're seeing is, from an enterprise perspective, they're not just working with a single vendor, single firmware version, single model of a device. It's all over the place. So they have many types of devices, many versions, many models, and different capabilities with these devices. So that's one thing. So it's kind of the proliferation. Then it's the lack of consolidation. Okay, so they have different systems that they need to work with in the best case. they have a system. In other cases, they don't really have that system. And it's really then challenging to know from a single kind of pane of glass what's going on. Then the next thing which we're seeing it happening is there was also the people which are responsible for these devices now are pretty much, they have IT capabilities nowadays. So they kind of know, okay, there is a better way to do these things that we're doing, they're doing either manual or very reactive after the fact. And they're seeing kind of the IT counterparts. And the IT counterparts have so many systems, right? You know how many categories there are in the IT space, how many systems and tools. And they're like, okay, we're missing something. There's definitely a better way to do this. And we actually saw that over the course of the last few years, and that's why I said, okay, we need to create that equivalent IT system for these guys. And it's pretty exciting because it's a new category. And once they see the presentation, they see the demo, like, wow, when can we have it deployed? And then we also speak with them about how
Yesterday.
simple it is deployed. Exactly. And we speak with them how about simple it is to deploy, which is also surprising for them because they're used to really long projects of deployment of the devices themselves. And we're like, no, we can deploy it in less than a day. And then you just see once we deploy, they're like, oh, this is nice. This is neat. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. And I think, generally working on a new category is hard, but it's the reward is amazing.
I love it. And so you created this company, and today you're sort of leading this ship. And just like any leader, you're faced with tremendous challenges. And I truly believe that every person in the world is a leader in their own domain, a role model for somebody that's always looking up to. But you have a more difficult task because you literally chose a leadership position, facing the trenches of a startup life. First of all, why? Why do you need to be the leader of the startup?
Oh, it's easy, no? Startups are easy.
That's what I've
Why?
heard.
Yeah, no. Why? I don't know. It's kind of like someone said a few years ago to me. He said it's kind of a bug. You need to get it out of the system, right? If you have that bug, you just you need to. And I've kind of known it for years. So I worked for various corporates, right? I worked for RSA, worked for Nice Systems. I worked smaller companies, Payoneer, and other companies. But it was always there. Also if we go back, intelligence units. And it was always there. So it's just a matter of when is the right time to start and work on a startup. And I think it's thinking about, okay, this is how we're going to grow and create something big, and add more people. And it's every kind of milestone that you reach is so rewarding. It's so fun, and you see more people join the team, and everyone, it's great relationships, and you become friends. And I think it's really about that kind of journey, and it's pretty unique in my opinion, that startup journey. Obviously, yes, it's not easy. It's definitely not easy, but it's rewarding.
Is it all based on intuition? Reaching all these new experiences, all these new struggles, and trying to sort of climb out of them, using your intuition. Is that how it works for you, or how do you go through about this leadership thinking process?
So I think it's a combination of being analytical, intuition, and experimenting. Right? You like you
Okay.
look at a problem like you want to solve. Okay, what is the and in my career, my entire career has been around product management and leading product management teams. So I kind of think as that kind of product manager. And you kind of see this challenge, and you're like, okay, I have a guess. This is what I'm gonna do. So it's kind of being analytical about the data you have, putting your own intuition into that, but then experimenting. And start quick and fail fast, right? But then experiment and do it again. So that's kind of the way I see it, and the way we, it's also the rest of the company. That's the way we work. Obviously, being careful, like the product, the solution is in the hands of a huge customers, but still, we're kind of in that kind of agile, very agile mode.
So you're talking about this thin balance between the being analytical, being experimental, having the intuition. Now, I saw that you were competing for rock climbing for many years, and I can reflect back to maybe one or two experiences that I've only had, rock climbing. But I reflecting, looking at this, whether it's bouldering or whether it's climbing high, there's something that's very analytical, experimental, and intuitive about the process of defeating this rock, right?
Yeah, it's actually true, and I think so. I used to compete back when I was younger, when I was a kid, for years. But I've been climbing pretty much since I was 13, I guess.
Wow.
And I think it kind of puts you in this certain state of mind, right? Because it kind of makes you what you are as a climber, at least after so many years of climbing, and especially when you're kind of growing up as a kid and spending most of your time in the climbing gym or outdoors. And yeah, it becomes you look at this, you come to the gym and you're with friends, you look at this route and you say, okay, this I can do this. This is easy, right? You start the first move. Oh no, this is harder than I thought. And then you get to the kind of mindset that you need to have that level of tenacity and endurance, and you need to kind of get to that state of mind, and you kind of become fixated with this, with this route that you want to send, that you want to finish. And it's similar to kind of the
Mm.
startup, experience, where you really want to focus on startup, grow it, but also again have that tenacity and endurance, and believe in the mission and the team and what you're doing, but always kind of fix it. So also in climbing, in between sessions, you're thinking about the route. You become fixated about it. You think, okay, how am I going to come next time to the next session? I'm going to do some moves differently. I'm going to work in between sessions and improving some core strength or something, and then I'm going to get it. And it's same kind of the iterations that you have within the startup. So I think it's a lot of it, which kind of is part of the what got me to kind of where I am today.
Is it also similar on a mental level and on an emotional level? You know, when you're sitting there and you're alone in front of the rock and it's basically you're trying out to figure out what you need to do better. Obviously, here at a startup, you have a team behind you, but still with the team, you oftentimes have to make a decision, and that decision is not trivial. And then you have to sort of guide this whole process, the whole ship towards the decision that you do believe is right, but the way to get there is not trivial, and you might have to do many iterations to get there.
Yeah, so I think there's multiple things here, which you just mentioned, and I can relate from the world of climbing. So one, it's kind of be in the zone, right? And yeah, you have a team around you, and you have friends where you're climbing. But I remember, especially when competing as a kid, there's audience and there's a lot of noise and the crowd is cheering. But the moment you start your attempt, that's it. It's kind of, it's noise cancellation. You can't hear anything. You're just focused on what you need to get done. And again, you're in that moment and in that zone. And also in startups, sometimes you need to change kind of the, state of mind. Sometimes, yeah, you're listening to everyone and you're kind of getting advice from the team or from other people. And at certain times, you need to kind of be in the zone and say, okay, guys, this is what we're doing. We're in the zone. Yes, let's focus on this. There will be a lot of noise, a lot of competition, a lot of this, a lot of that, but we need to be focused on what we're doing and what we want to achieve. There's definitely also the aspects of teamwork and how we're improving together as a team, and also the kind of the advice you get from other people, whether if it's advisors or experts or the team itself. And it's the same kind of in climbing and having that kind of uh, counterparts which are working with you on that attempt, or throughout just friends which you climb with together. So there's definitely some resemblance there.
So going back to the day to day of SecuriThings, where's the exhilaration for you, right? I mean, it sounds like you opt in for a lot of adventures, and you've had quite a lot of experiences in your life, from relocating to competing to working at some companies that I love and that they're helping power the show as well. But where is the exhilaration for you, both in the day to day of the company, but also on the macro level of what you're trying to build here?
So many areas, and there's so many milestones that you get to. It can be funding milestones, which are important, and you then also tell the rest of the team, and everybody is excited. So for me, seeing also the team excited about each of these milestones, so funding, seeing how they think about it is great. It's also, I remember like putting the product in the hands of the first few customers and seeing how they react. But again, it's also for me, it's always looking, okay, how's the team? How do they feel about it? And getting the feedback from end customers, and how end customers also talk about the team and the service we provide. That for me is amazing. That's a great achievement, kind of I feel personally. And then it's also the bigger mission that we're creating a new category. We're trying to kind of change the space. We're kind of digitizing the space, which has kind of been left behind, I'd say, and putting a solution which is really kind of changing the lives of our the customers, the end users, and seeing their appreciation of it, and how it helps them on the day to day. That for me is it's pretty, again, pretty unique.
Where, if you're looking back at the beginning of SecuriThings, how trivial was this for you that this is a problem that needs to be solved? Because you're talking about a new market, you're talking about a new category, you're talking about IoT Ops. This is the first time I'm hearing of the term IoT Ops. How obvious and how intuitive was this for you versus how much research you had to do to sort of find your way to this problem?
It took us time. So it's definitely when you create a new category, it takes time. It takes more of the analytical thought process. It takes more experimenting. You just speak with more and more people, end users, partners, people that are in the industry. And yes, it wasn't easy. It isn't trivial, but I think the moment you kind of find that, and find the product market fit really, and then also the go to market fit, that is that's the point where everything kind of changes, right? That's the point where everything kind of starts accelerating, and you just need to kind of have
I'm always
the
I'm always fascinated. Sorry to interrupt, because I'm always so fascinated by this exact thing that you just said. That this moment that you're understanding that, okay, we have this product market fit and we're ready to go. Now, we have this conviction, we have our team behind me, and I can just imagine you're in the position of the CEO saying, like, having that feeling, wow, like, I know we're reaching product market fit and I can't wait to share this feeling with my whole team. Was there a specific moment that this happened, or did this happen gradually as you were building out SecuriThings?
So I think it happened over time, because for me, I believe, like, as a kind of product manager, there's different level of product market fit, right? And product market fit also includes marketing and messaging and a lot of things. And it takes constant iterations and constant improvements. And also at the same time, the market is also changing, right? And you always need to continue improving and accelerating. So there is a single point where you probably, the first few customers that start working with this and say, okay, yes, this is amazing. But then it's a kind of it's continuing, and it's always happening, and you can always improve that product market fit. So it's not that point of time which, boom, that's it, we're done. It's okay, now it's more marketing, now it's a sales machine, and how we build that, and how do we really
but is the feeling different
in the way
is the vibe different at that point? Is there a shift, maybe in terms of the confidence, in terms of the motivation, the mission driven mentality? How does this change at all?
Yes, but I think it's also very personal. So for me, it was like, okay, we found it. What's next? I think it depends on the other people may, celebrate a bit more and, be in that moment. I'm like, okay, now how do we grow this, bigger and faster? And what do we need to do next? But there's definitely that moment where you see, okay, we got it. Like, this is the product, this is the category. Let's continue in this route, but always kind of finding what is the right exact direction.
Incredible. If you had to go back to Roy before SecuriThings, who was just starting out, with everything that you know today, everything that you've experienced, all those countless hours of experiences that are mounting, what would you tell him? What are some things that you would say that are non-trivial for a young entrepreneur to know?
Don't do this. No, I'm kidding.
I don't believe you.
I'd say it's a great ride. Work, find the right people, the right team, enjoy the ride. There's a lot of you obviously. I think in a startup, when you build it as a CEO, your job changes all the time. What you're doing, right? There's a different when you're like 2 people, 5 people, 10
Yeah.
people, 20 people. It just changes all the time. So there's so much you learn at the start, which I think is very hard to learn in pretty much in any other position, especially as a kind of the CEO. So it's hard to say because it will be like a long session of hey Roy, these are the lessons learned, and there's been quite a bit of lesson learned during this period.
I love it. Roy, if you had to choose a few words to describe yourself, or if I were to ask anybody in SecuriThings, how would you describe Roy in 3 words? What would those words be?
Roy, that's a tough question. I have no idea. I actually have no idea.
I love
Maybe
that.
let's
That
go
is,
with
I have to stop you there.
enjoying the ride.
Enjoying the ride, I'll take it. But I was gonna say that the answer you gave me before that was my favorite answer until now. I have no idea. I think that's just as good of an answer.
Yeah, probably some other people need to answer that question.
Exactly. Roy, thank you very, very much. I really, really appreciate your time, your energy, your insights, your background. I love the fact that you're chasing after this new category. You have incredible investors that are partnering with you with great validation, and I just think it's such an awesome journey. Thank you so much for sharing it with me, and stay safe and stay healthy.
Absolutely, my pleasure, Michael. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.